Hello everyone. Today we will talk about Kautilya. So we'll basically talk about Kautilya's importance in Indian politics and what kind of questions can be derived on this topic. Basically we will talk about three things. That first one is Kautilya's work. Second, his theories and his important quotes. So in CUET PG, we will stuck to the objective part of any thinker. We can discuss Kautilya in a long video of 4 to 5 hours, but here we will try to finish Kautilya in almost 15 minutes. Anything related to Kautilya will study in 15 minutes only, and I am very sure that there will be nothing more than that which will be asked in CUET PG level of Pol Science, right? So starting to Kautilya, the process of Indian political tradition is very old, and it can be traced to Vedas. I can say that Rig Veda is the oldest any text in the world, and Indian political thought can be traced to Vedas as well. So we will talk about Kautilya first, but there are many Smritis and Puranas, right? So in Smriti and Puranas, there was mention of Sabha and Samiti. So this was the first time we have learned about the democratic processes of Indian community, Indian state. So and you can see that the Sabha was the important aspect where the noblemen of the society were the part of Sabha, while in Samiti, I used to remember Sabha and Samiti before starting to Kautilya. Sabha, important people, okay, and in Samiti there were all people, all include women. Women as well. Why I have written M in a capital letter? Because here is, you can see Samiti. So when you have to differentiate between Sabha and Samiti, there is M in Samiti, and you can remember yourself that where there is M, it includes women as well, Mahila in Hindi you can say, okay. So coming back to Kautilya. So Arthashastra was written in 4th century BC, almost you can say that 400 BC, right? 400 BC, and by the one can say he was a prime minister, right? So prime minister of the great Mauryan Empire known as Kautilya. There was two other name of Kautilya, Chanakya and Vishnugupta. So in the exam the questions are many time asked that Arthashastra is written by, so all options are correct, Kautilya, Vishnugupta or Chanakya. All options are correct. Okay. Next we will talk about Arthashastra. So basically we can say that Arthashastra is the oldest Indian discourse on statecraft and economic policy and military strategy, written in Sanskrit. First one thing is Sanskrit, and second thing, it is what are the main subject of Arthashastra, that is statecraft, economic policy and military. Arth basically means economy. So Kautilya was very much focused on the economy of the state, and in other way, Arthashastra is known as science and art of politics and diplomacy. Yeah, I have mentioned that Kautilya's Arthashastra is all about science and art, both of politics and diplomacy. So in current time, when we study IR, so IR has its root in Kautilya's Arthashastra, right? And earth, wealth, that, yeah, I have told about that as well. Earth means the wealth. So he focused on the wealth of the state. He says that if the coast of a state is secured, it will be very happy. And you can see in current term, USA, who is the most powerful state in the world, USA. After that, China. And both are economically strong. Right? Why world is focusing on India? Because India has a strong population, a big population, which can lead to a great economy. And India is very fast growing economy. That's why the whole world has very hope with India, right? So yeah, and one more thing, Kautilya focused on he emphasized on the systemization of some law, like he focused on uniformity of law, right? Uniformity of law, like Modi ji se na, I am again coming to Hindi, sorry. So Modi says one nation, one law. So it was Kautilya who tried to implement at that time, okay, for the smooth functioning of administration and welfare of people. And you can say that he also talked about Raj Dharma. We'll talk about his main ideas mentioned in Kautilya's Arthashastra. Okay, on state of relation. So state of relation, talking about. So the relation of between two states is the relation of war. We have studied about Machiavelli, right? So people say that Kautilya was Machiavelli of India, but I disagree. He was Machiavelli was Kautilya of West. Okay, so if you have seen Game of Thrones, so there was a character Littlefinger. So his character was very much influenced by the character of Machiavelli in the medieval history of Europe. He was from Italy. So the Kautilya also emphasized on the realist approach of IR. So he said that every state is in a state of war. The relation between two states are known as relation of war, and the strength of lion prevails. यानी कि हिंदी में बोलते हैं जिसकी लाठी उसकी भैंस, यानी कि द lion stand strong, right? He focuses on the struggle of power. So he was a realist. So if question arises, who was the first realist of world? So you can focus on, you can take the answer, Kautilya. One more thing, we will study about realism in IR. Okay, there are many other thinkers in IR who had followed the realist approach, but Kautilya was the first who followed the realist approach. And one more thing, there are two different realism, offensive and defensive. So we will stick to Kautilya only. So he was the offensive realist. Okay, and he believed in power maximization. He says that we have to increase our state power. Only that can ensure the security and peace in state, right? Like when we have a nuclear power, no other state try to conquer us, because they know that India has a nuclear power. And you can see that once India and Pakistan both were equipped with nuclear power, there was not any major war, direct war after 1999. Okay. So after that we will come to types of war. So Kautilya talked about 3 types of war. Okay. So first of all, he says that a war fought between 2 states, right? So there are 3 types of war. That first one is open war, right? Second is concealed war, and third is silent war. So I have mentioned in Hindi term as well, because there are some Hindi terms, exact Hindi terms. There is no different English, so I have mentioned in both Hindi and English. So first one is Parakram Yuddh, direct war. Second one is Koot Yuddh, yani guerrilla warfare, which Shivaji was master in that. Okay. So from where Shivaji learned? So their roots are in Arthashastra. And third one is Shadmavar, proxy war, right? Like India and Pakistan, India and China are in condition of Shadmavar, on proxy war. Okay, China and USA are in condition of Shadmavar. Okay, right. So, and we'll talk about after that his Shadgun Niti. Before that, so one can ask question in MCQs that how many types of war, Kautilya has defined, right? So there are three types of war. One is Parakrama war, second is Koot war, and third is Shadma war. Okay. Coming to his Shadgun Niti, six-fold principles of Kautilya, right? So first one is Sandhi. So Kautilya says after war there are six principles. Shad means six in Hindi, right? In Sanskrit. So he talk about Shadgun Niti, six-fold principles. The first one is Sandhi. So Sandhi means the pledge by both nations that we will not stand in war, direct war on each other, right? It is a treaty of alliance or mutual agreement of peace, right? India and Pakistan are in condition of Sandhi. We can say in English there is a term called ceasefire, right? So ceasefire के बाद क्या होता है? There are Sandhi, a treaty. There was a treaty of Shimla, and there are other treaties, treaty of Tashkent, right? And other many, treaty of Versailles in word history we will see that. So first one is Sandhi. Sandhi means okay. So and other thing is that they agree upon their political interest that I will do this, you will do this, and will not fight anymore, right? Second one is Vigra. Second one is Vigra. So Vigra means offensive operation or war, right? Vigra means war or hostility. So Kautilya strongly agrees that states are always at war. And they are in position to competing with each other, right? Therefore it is very important to have a hostile foreign policy, that like as Jaishankar is following at the time, which few states, whether they are equal in power. So what states try to do? They try to increase their power, and that is called, when we talk about offensive realist, he is talking about increasing in power always, right? So first one is by subordinate. There are two things. First is subordinating in power. So Chanakya advises the use of diplomatic maneuvers, that an armed conflict with the concept of Vigra. And second is according to Kautilya, the neighbor must always be kept under constant diplomatic warfare. So when there is not war, they should try to go with the path of diplomacy, right? And next is Jana. Okay. Asana Samashray. Right. So we will talk about asana. We'll talk about, third is Jana. Third is Jana. So Jana means marching the army against the enemy or along the border. Jana means preparing for war, right? There was a time in almost in 1987, I guess. There was an operation. I don't remember exactly the name of that operation, But when Rajiv Gandhi, at Rajiv Gandhi times, Indian forces were almost on the border to cut Pakistan into two pieces. But there was no war, direct war, but army was on border only, right? So Yard means to mobilize the army on border. Okay, so before the army marches to forward and marks the war, the king should ensure that the kingdom is properly safeguarded. So this is the strategy to make someone fearful, the opposition make fearful, right? Fourth one is asan. Fourth one is asan, right? Fourth one is asan. Okay, so asan means showing indifference or staying neutral. Like there is a country named Switzerland, it is always neutral. It was neutral in the even in World War. It was the only country which is in Europe with that was not involved in war directly or indirectly anywhere. Okay, it means asan means कि नहीं होता है when you have seen yogasan. तो yogasan means you have done a proper posture, one posture, and you are just stay in that position only. That is called asan. So stay in neutral position. All right. So this is the stage of armed neutrality. Kautilya says that attaining a condition of armed neutrality we can be avoided or prolonged and peace can be established. Kautilya also advised use of diplomacy in this phase of blue state situation. Third one is samashray. Okay, we will talk about samashray. It is samashray. Samashray. So samashray means the condition of the policy is that strong states protects the weaker state, like we as a nation, India protects Nepal and Bhutan. Okay, India protects and at the same time there was a policy by America which was protecting the Gajapatti, right, the Palestine in English. So this is the concept of buffer state. So Nepal, what is Nepal? Nepal is the buffer state. Bhutan is the buffer state between India and China, right? So, India, for taking the real example, Bhutan and Nepal are the buffer state between India and China, right? So they are the samashray. So a stronger state, in order to protect itself from an equal power, uses the third state, which is an alliance formed between the third state. Okay, so it is used as shield. For example, if China is going to attack India, it will attack Nepal first, but Nepal is on samashray mode, so it has alliance with both nations, India and China, right? Last one is Dvaidi Bhav. Dvaidi Bhav, double meaning. This is called USA. So this is USA do always, like Dvaidi Bhav. I will write it in English. Dvaidi Bhav, right? So Dvaidi Bhav is making peace with one nation while waging war with another nation. So we are fighting with one nation at end and making peace with another nation in World War First, right? You can remember one thing. Okay, let me erase few things. Okay, so there is a story that no, this is not a story. It is a real thing. That at that time, first Germany made a peace accord with Russia that we will not attack you and we will not attack us, right? When he was busy in fighting with France. Okay, so Hitler was very smart in that thing, that he chose to fight with France. Okay, Germany. He just defeated France, and after that England. Then he came to Poland, and Poland was what? Poland was a Samarshaya, or he was the buffer state. Poland was a buffer state between Germany and Russia. So it was the kind of Dvaidibhava of Germany, that we will attack on France, but we will be stay friend with Russia. And when he attacked, when he won France, he tried to attack Russia as well. But always Russia defeated Germany and ended the World War II. Right? So the literal meaning of Dvaidibhava is, that means dual. Right? Dual. Or bhava means nature. So it is dual nature. Okay. So we have learned about Shadgun Niti. We will come on 4 upaya. So Kautilya talk about 4 upayas. Okay. So he mentioned that there are Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. We have studied many times about this. So to reach a solution in the state of politics, to avoid conflict or war situation. First one is Sam. What is Sam? Sam means to conciliation or alliance, right? Like when you study history, there was Kumargupta. He married other princesses, and even Akbar married Rajput princesses to form an alliance with states. In situation of conflict arises, right? To talk, the way of diplomacy. Second one is Dam. So Dam was what? It was done by Britishers. Okay, so means of gift or compensation, right? Right? Pay of value. Third one is Dand. Use of logic. It is the third one is Bhed. Dand उसके बाद है, last में नहीं कुछ मिलेगा तो दंड. Third one is use of logic or trickery to influence the mind. Like Britishers use that while dealing with you can say with Tipu Sultan. They used Marathas and Nizams of Hyderabad in their side, right? And trick that and use it is used by spies. So nation use some inner knowledge, inner things that they know about a nation, and use that to trick the nation. One example I will give you about this, and that is when Field Marshal S.M. Manekshaw said in Bangladesh that you are already encircled by 4 ways, and you must conceal yourself to Pakistan army. Indian army was very less, but almost 93,000 plus Pakistan army was they surrendered to India, right? So he tricked or by logic, right? And last one is Dand. Last one is Dand. If a state is not following any other way, then the last way is to use the force or war, right? To take a war with the opposite state. So this was the thing that Kautilya talk about 4 upayas. What is Sam, Dam, Bhed and Dand, right? Next is he was talk about 3 Vijay, right? So this is a wrong heading, but it's okay. He talk about 4 approaches was found in the Hindu Itihas, Indian epic, and the Dharma Shastra as well, and the Jain text, that was Niti Vakya Mitra. Niti Vakya Mitra. And after that, okay, so he mentioned about 3 types of victory. First one is Dharma Vijay. When there is saying that Ashok started Dhamma Vijay. In Buddhism, in the Pali language, R is silent. So Dharma is Dhamma. He started Dhamma Vijay, like by rightful means. Second is Lobh Vijay. इकोनॉमिक इंडक्टमेंट ऑन द आर्मी ऑफ enemies. ठीक है. And last is Asur Vijay, by unfair means, any way. Like the Islam win was Asur Vijay, where they looted the women and the men and of any society they, wherever they get. By a secular person, I must say that in medieval times there was many Asur Vijay in time, right? Okay. So next is we will talk about Saptanga theory. Okay, so Saptanga, what do you mean by Saptanga? Saptanga means Sapt Ang. Sapt means 7, Ang means limb. So it is talk about 7 limbs or 7 constituents of an state, right? So what they constitute. So together they constitute a state or as an organism, right? Like you can say here I will give you an example of chariot, comprised of 7 parts fitted in, right? So I will talk about first one, that is Swami. Where is Swami? Swami, कहाँ गए Swami? Mitra, Amatya, Durga, Janpat, and this is king. So Swami is the king, the sovereign king, right? So he was the monarch as the ideal form of state. So Kautilya's ideal state was of not democratic, it was monarchical form of state, right? So one can ask question from that side. But what was the Kautilya's state? It was democratic, it was monarchy, it was theocratic, like this question, right? We will discuss about questions later. So Kautilya has accorded the king as highest place in the body of politics. That is, he is in the middle of the body. This is known as Swami. Swami is the chief executive head of the state and is thus he is the head of all other elements. Like he described a comprehensive list of 4 broad categories of qualities which constitute, like Swami must be, like you can the questions can be asked about the qualities of Swami. The first one is quality of inviting nature. Okay, so quality of inviting nature. First one is. Second he talks about he must have qualities of intellect and intuition. He must be intellectual. Intellect. Third one he talks about is qualities of self-restraint and spirit. He has self-restraint. आत्मसंतोषी, right? Self-restraint, जिसके ऊपर खुद के ऊपर कंट्रोल हो. He must have control on his senses, right? And he must control over spirit. And the fourth quality is he is enthusiasm. He must be enthusiastic. Right? He should perform protective function and promotion of values and moral happiness, right? Is these things. So second one is Amatya. Amatya is the Prime Minister. Okay. In the current time, who is the Amatya? Prime Minister. The post of Prime Minister is known as Amatya. Right? So here is Amatya. So in the narrow sense, the term Amatya was used as minister of high grade. Like at that time, at the present time, it is the Prime Minister, right? And other is Cabinet Minister. He described as an elaborate system of recruitment of the Amatya and other officials were morally and ethically pure, honest, and in financial matter and of good character. And that's why the prime minister chooses his most confident person as cabinet minister, right? And third one is Janpad. Now we'll call it Janpad. Janpad, right? So Janpad means the territory, people and territory. Okay. So this is the unique element of Saptang, is the symbol of state, which is territorial society, right? And Jan means people and Pad means the territory, right? Well, if you break Janpada, wait, so Jan, जनपद, ये कहाँ से होगा, ये लिखना होगा, यहाँ से राइट, इसको बड़ा करना होगा, ठीक है ना, ओके ठीक है, राइट. So we'll talk about Janpad. What is this? पेन क्यों चल रही है इस पे? राइट, हाँ. So Jan plus Pad. So Jan means people. Jan means people and Pad means the society and territory. Who is a king? King is a sovereign who rules, and where he will rule on a territory with people, right? So third is Janpad, fourth is Durg. Durg means, okay, so fourth is Durg. Coming to fourth point, fourth is Durg, right? So Durg means fort, right? So he focuses on the fortification. It is essential for the defense and protection of the state. He wanted the state to fortify the territories from all sides. China wall, right? So he was also, and remember, Kautilya was the chief amatya of Magad. Magad was naturally fortified with water in three sides and in a mountain in the fourth side. Right, so he focuses on the fortification of a state from all sides. He described 4 types of fortification. It includes Auduk, Parvat, Dhanavan and Vana. Like out of these categories, the first 2 were protection of the territory and 2 were protection of farmer. So think about it. Kautilya was so much focused on the things that he included farmers, that because there is a thing Kosh. There is a Kosh. So Kosh will come from the Vyapar, the business, and business at that time was agrarian society. So if farmers were happy, farmers are using farm lands very well, and there is no other things that can destroy their farms. It is very important. So fortification is important in this state. Okay, we'll talk about after that Kosh. Okay, so Kosh means treasury. A state runs by Kosh because you have to give salary to the soldiers, to the other officials to run a state, and for this we require Kosh, right? So the flourishing economy is essential for the existence of a state of all times and circumstances, right? That is probably why the philosopher of ancient India looked at treasury. So Kautilya suggested the following legitimate measures. For example, the various form of land taxes. So it talked about taxation system and the duty levied on the sale of commodities in the market, right? Service tax, like the GST, goods and service tax, is talked about, right? And the tax on import and export, custom duty, and miscellaneous other taxes. So think about that. The Kautilya was so good in statesmanship that he talked about 4 types of taxes. So it can be asked that how many types of taxes Kautilya talks about, and which of these taxes were collected in Kautilya's days, right? And we'll talk about dand, bal, and bal is also known as dand. Right? So he accepted a strong and hereditary Kshatriya army as the most important requisite of the state, and don't go with the caste system that Kshatriya was belonging to a particular caste. There were soldier community, right? Anyone who can fight for the state was Kshatriya at that time, right? So he insisted on the hereditary army because it would not only be skilled, well contented and obedient to the king's will, but will also be free from duplicity. Such army will serve both in defensive and offensive purposes of the king. And think about that. Kautilya says that if a Kshatriya father will raise his son, so he will raise it as a warrior class only. So he will be more, he will be better than other soldiers. But he doesn't allow that. No, any other will not be fighting for the state. That was open for everyone. But if hereditary system will be there, it will be better for training purposes, right? And after that, at last he talks about mitra, allies, right? In current time, you can say that India has many allies and mitra, right? USA is also the mitra of India and Russia at the same time, but whereas they both are enemy at other ends, right? So this is the beautiful state currently India is in, right? So he realizes that political isolation means death. So he proceeds that importance of mitra or ally as a vital factor. He recognizes 2 kinds of allies, namely sahaj and kritim. The sahaj or natural ally is one whose friendship is derived from the times of king's father and grandfathers. Like sahaj ally is Russia. Russia is in current times, Russia is a sahaj ally of India. And second is kritim. Kritim one is the acquired ally in one whose friendship is especially resorted for the protection of wealth and life of state, right? So USA is in current time, USA is a kritim ally of India, right? And so we have learned about how many things: definition of Arthashastra, what is Arthashastra, and that relation, types of war, for Shadgunya Niti, and 4 upayas, and 3 types of wars, and 3 types of victories, and after that Saplan theory. At last we will come out on Kautilya's corruption. What was his important quotes on corruption? So this quote is often asked in exams. Like honey on the tongue, it is not impossible to test it, right? Like you are sitting in treasury and you are not corrupted. It is almost impossible to not corrupt, right? So he used to send spies for that thing, right? So spy system was very well developed in the time of Kautilya as Mauryan Empire, right? One is fish swimming in the water will itself not realize when it has drunk the water, right? A fish in the ocean or water will not realize that she has done the water or not. So he is saying that one corrupt person in very corrupt state will not realize that whether he has taken any bribe or not. And third one is the ways of embezzlement are 40. So it is a MCQ type thing, that how many type of embezzled were described in Kautilya's Arthashastra. It was 40 and gives a detailed account to deal with the problem of corruption. So the current state is also very much, we are dealing with the very big problem of corruption. So Kautilya's Arthashastra can help as well. So we'll in next session, next class, we will discuss almost 20 questions on Kautilya, which will be basically dealing the objective purpose of this exam. Well, we will not go in very deep, but we will check the things where our questions are coming from, right? So all the best for the next session.